So to rebuild one of these Ibea carburetors, you need not a lot of tools. There's 3 different screwdrivers you need. You need a large posi drive, a smaller posi drive, and a relatively small flat blade screwdriver. You need a socket to remove the needle seat. It's an 8mm size. Let's see if I can get that focused. Yep, there we go, 8mm. But you'll notice that a portion of the socket is turned down. It needs to be a very, very thin-walled socket to gain access. The other tools you'll see here is a pop-off testing gauge. There's various types available. This is generally sort of a mobile type setup. And then there's a adapter, which is very useful and saves quite a lot of time when you are... That just pops off. Inside there, you'll see there's a gasket. Take that out. There's the fuel strainer. So that's your last chance to catch any foreign objects or body or dirt that is in your fuel before it enters into the carburetor. You'll see here this is where the fuel enters. Goes around, goes through this hole here and down into the pumper section of the carburetor. So we'll start off by slackening the screws on the top. So we can lift that up and we'll remove the screws and put them into our pot for safekeeping. With it has come the first of the diaphragm gaskets. So pop that there. Then you'll find another gasket. Lay that there. Then we have this section. We'll lay those 2 next to each other. Then we have the pump diaphragm that makes contact with the needle. Lay that there, and then we have the sealing gasket. You'll see we have the lever arm, we have the fulcrum pin, we have the needle. We're going to take that out now. So to do that, we unscrew the retaining screw. The pin can move freely within here. We'll take the pin, pop it into there. You'll see the needle sits within the fork of the fulcrum lever. We'll take those 2 apart, and that leaves us with the needle seat still sitting in there and the spring. So we'll take the spring, put that safely, and we'll undo the needle seat using our specially adapted socket. So that comes out. You'll see the rubber seat is inside there. That's what the needle goes in and seats against. And down in the bottom here, you'll see there is a copper washer. So we're going to pop that copper washer out. Then we're going to unscrew the jets. We'll start off with the low jet. So there we have the low jet removed. As you can see from this, we have the spring sitting here, then we have the washer, and then we have the very thick O-ring. Remove the high jet exactly the same way. So now we have all of the parts removed that we're going to from the carburetor body. For what we're doing today, there's no reason to take out the butterfly or the butterfly linkage. So now we're going to go to the ultrasonic cleaner. We're going to put in the main body. We're going to put in the two upper diaphragm pumper body sections. And then we'll go to the ultrasonic cleaning tank. Take these out. Little jiggly shake, as you can see. I turned them around midway through the process. So now we'll take these out and we'll get a blowgun and we'll blow everything out. So now that's all cleaned out, it's ready to start reassembly with all of the new gaskets and parts. For this particular carburetor, we are not going to be replacing all of the parts. We will reuse the lever arm, we will reuse the needle, we will reuse the spring, we'll reuse the seat. One part we will not reuse is this copper washer that sits underneath the needle seat. So, as I mentioned, the copper washer that goes in the bottom of there, we always fit a new one, so we just drop it down into there, give it a little jiggle, make sure it's seated, and then we can put the needle seat back in, do that up. Doesn't need to be super tight, just so what we do, put the axle back through the middle, we hook the needle onto the fork, and then we take the spring. There's a small counterbore that it sits into there, that will keep it sitting there. Now then, we have to make sure that on the back side of the lever, you see the little ball feature, the top of the spring has to line up with that. So we slide that all together. Screw, pop the screw into there. We get our small flat blade screwdriver. Give that a little snap down. Again, you don't get super tight with it, just a good. Make sure that's moving nicely. Double check that the spring is seated, which it is on this occasion. A little bit of WD-40. My preference is to put it down this hole. Just a little squirt. Oh, little squirt out the top there. This port goes directly down to the bottom of the needle. You'll see there's some WD-40 has appeared around here now. A small bit of tissue and just wipe up the excess there. Mentioned earlier, this small tool goes in the end of the pipe on the pressure tester. We put that into this port, the same port we put the WD-40 in a moment ago, and then we start pumping, and from that we can see what it pumps up to before it pops, and then where the pressure drops to. We can then start to rebuild all of the gaskets, diaphragms, and everything that goes inside the carburetor. So we have a brand new Ibea kit. My personal preference is to only use genuine Ibea kits. So we'll lay all of these out. So we have the first gasket, then we have the diaphragm, then we have this gasket, and then we have the other diaphragm gasket. So this one first. It can only go one way around to actually fit, because there's a small grub screw there and a small grub screw there. If you invert it 180 degrees, it won't go on. You then have this one. This side goes down, so the sort of round radius feature in the center here is what goes against the lever there. Again, if you've got it this way up, it can only go one way round. Then we have this. This face is downwards. Again, it will be positioned by the grub screws here and here. Go into this hole and this hole. Give that a gentle push down. Now, this is where I have seen some people make mistakes in the past. You put this one first. Goes onto, there's 3 pegs you can see that pushes down onto. So we'll just give that a gentle push down onto those. And then we have the plastic sheet one. And you don't want to put a fold in them. We're just making sure that it's springing in the direction we want. So sit that onto there. Then we can sit this one on. Again, it's located by those pegs. So everything's sitting there. And we can start to put the screws in. These screws, make sure they've got the spring washers on as well. And last one in. Now, we'll give all of these just a gentle touch down. Generally on these, we go opposites rather than round in a circle, just to make sure that everything can pull down square. We need to make sure all of the gaskets and diaphragms are all sitting flat as they should be. Give all of those a gentle nip initially. And then they're all down. Right, and then you can give them a firmer snug. As I said before, my preference is to do opposites. Now, if you're interested, these screws, they are a 3.5mm screw, which is an unusual size. Not many options available for the head type for them, but now they're all nipped, we can prepare for the next stage. So, then we put the fuel strainer, then the sealing gasket, then we put this one. Now, personally, I always line this up with this feature. There's a couple of reasons for that, but one of them is because I'm running on rotary engines. It puts the fuel pipe in a position that's relatively out of the way of getting to the jets, and out the way of the airbox for choking. So give that a good snug. Make sure that's sitting down, and then it's time to start winding some jets in. So to put the jets in, we give just a little squirt of WD-40 into the jet hole. Make sure we have the correct jet. Again, making sure that the spring, the washer and the O-ring are present. Give that all the way in, just a little snug. Small squirt into both of those. do the low jet on this one first. Now with Ibeas, it's pretty common that the low jet is silver coloured, and the high jet is black coloured. So give that a little snug down, and you'll see why we give them a snug down in a second. One thing we always do is, as well as checking the pop-off pressure and the holding pressure, one thing I always check is that the carburetor is holding pressure. So we get our pop-off pressure pumping gauge, pop that on, and then we start pumping pressure. Now normally we've got a small leak here, so we'll just check that all of these jets are closed, which they are. Yep, see that's leaking down slightly, so we'll just go back and double check that all of these screws are tight. We've checked everything's snug. Here you can see we can get good pressure. Just check once more that the top is tight. It's able to snug that down slightly more. Pump it up now. There you can see it's holding 15, not a problem. And then as soon as we open a jet, you'll see it'll bleed some of that down. Never like to leave the jets completely closed, so I will always open them up to what I consider as a baseline setting, which is sort of a nominal 1 1/4 on the low. I'll go just over 1 on the high, and normally about 1/4 a turn on the power jet. We can then just pop it off and make sure that we are happy with where it pops and where it holds. I'm not going to show you where it's popping and holding to, because that's the settings I like to use. And there is definitely some performance to be found in where it pops off and where it holds, but that is then that carburetor rebuilt. Pop the carburetor into a bag,